discussion of maintenance and repair needs to begin with a discussion of the tools that we're going to use. So we're going to start with a basic set of maintenance tools. You won't need everything that we're going to talk about, but as the years go on, you'll probably want to acquire most of these. First group of tools we're going to talk about will be used for the actual service of the instrument. The first thing is going to be hammers or rawhide mallets. You notice that I have a selection here. Most of these are rawhide heads on the mallets. However, it's not necessary that they be rawhide. You'll notice we have one here that is of wood. The primary thing with the head of the mallet is that it be a substance that is not going to easily damage the brass of your instrument. There's another item that's very important with the hammers or mallets, and that is that each hammer is a different size for a particular reason. For instance, here you'll notice the larger one has a larger head and a larger handle. This is going to make it easier to generate a great deal of force with a minimum of motion. This is very good because if we can reduce our stroke to just the wrist, we can control it more accurately. In order to generate the same pressure with the smaller mallet will require an entire arm stroke, and then the accuracy can change, and we may actually damage the instrument in the process of repairing. So be sure and have the proper size mallet for the task that you have at hand. Now the next item that we'll often use with the mallet is going to be a wood dowel. I have a selection here for you. The things that we're going to be looking for out of our wood dowel are, first of all, wide enough that we can add a hole to the back of the dowel so that we're able to use this dowel now to set over the back bearing plate, and it can be hammered in place very well. The one I just showed you was a broom handle. We can also use, as you see, a wooden thread spool or any other wooden dowel of at least an inch diameter. Okay, the next item we have on the table is a center punch. There are a couple of things we can use for this. The center item is actually a hardened steel shaft designed for using with the valve work, but a center punch that can be obtained from a local hardware store will work just as well. The thing we're looking for out of our center punch will be that the shaft here is thin enough to go into the hole on the valve without touching the threads. For instance, if we can go to the valve here that I have in the vise, you'll see that when I insert it, it is free and does not touch the thread, so we're not going to damage the valve. Okay, screwdrivers. We want to have several screwdrivers. Even if the tip of the screwdriver will fit all the screws on your tuba, you still need to have a screwdriver that will generate the proper amount of torque. For instance, if we take the larger screwdriver, it will generate a great deal of force before you realize that you're actually applying this level of force to the screw. The smaller screwdriver, you can do more delicate work, and then you're less likely to damage the instrument or the screw that you're working on. So have an assortment of screwdrivers that fit your instrument's screws. Now we have a pair of pliers. I prefer to have a set of needle-nose pliers because of the multi-uses that are possible with this. For instance, besides just pulling springs and picking things up as needed, a common thing that will happen with tuba players is that they drop their mouthpiece and damage the back shaft. In this case, this one is not damaged, but if I did drop it and bend it, I could easily take the rounded needle-nose pliers, insert it, and then by twisting motion, it's possible to re-round the mouthpiece. It's important that this mouthpiece remain rounded because a badly damaged mouthpiece can change the playing characteristics of your instrument. For the next of the service tools, we want to have either a single-edged razor blade or an X-Acto knife for trimming of water keys, corks, bumpers, several items like that. Will be handy to have this around. For the bumpers and for general service on a rotary instrument, we need some bumper material. We have two types here. First is a commercially available cork dowel that is specifically designed for this purpose. A lot of people like to use neoprene or rubber, however, and neoprene can be expensive and difficult to find, but a very good source that people often don't know about is the vacuum cleaner belt. If we look around, for instance, this is a section of a vacuum cleaner belt. If you shop at your local grocery store or hardware store, you can often find a vacuum cleaner belt that's the proper diameter for the work you need, and you'll save a great deal of money by this, and it works very well for this purpose. We're also going to want to have a selection of lubricants for the various moving parts of our instrument. Here we have a rather large selection. We have our basic valve oils. which can be useful with piston valves, and occasionally you want to put them into the instrument. We also have heavier oils. We have here one which is designed specifically for rotary valve use, but any light machine oil can be used. We also have a penetrating oil, which can be used when we have stuck slides and items like this that we will demonstrate later. And now we come to the area of grease. We can use a number of things for greases. There are commercially available slide greases, but I happen to like to use just regular wheel bearing grease or automotive grease. It can be purchased by the pound at your local auto store. As you can see, you get a large tub, which then can be easily moved into a smaller container for portability. A couple of things we want to have out of either the commercially available slide grease or this type of grease is that it needs to not melt at a low point. So if you put a little on your fingers and rub it, if it melts, then that's too light of a grease. When the instrument becomes warm, then it will flow into the valves and cause other troubles. A popular item with many people is to use anhydrous lanolin as a slide grease. This works very well, but it's climate sensitive. As you can see, it's a very sticky substance. The nice thing with anhydrous lanolin is that if you put it on the slide, it doesn't go away until you're ready to take it off. The problem can be that in cold climates, the anhydrous lanolin becomes so thick it's very difficult and sometimes impossible to move the slide until the instrument has warmed up. So you have to be the judge in this case as to which is the better choice for you. For our regular cleanings of the instrument, we're going to want to have a few items. A selection of brushes is very handy. We have here a normal toothbrush, a baby bottle brush, and a commercially available mouthpiece cleaning brush. A small selection of brushes with soft bristles is handy for cleaning the various inner parts of the slides and various other small parts of the instrument. A very handy item that you can obtain at your music store is called a snake. This particular item is a tuba snake. Sometimes it's difficult to find tuba snakes. A trombone snake can also be used. Now this is a long spring flex cable that has two brushes on the ends. Now we want to be sure that we have at least a trombone diameter, because if you'll notice, the brush size has a certain diameter that needs to be large enough to contact the tubing. See, it's a very long item here. It works very well for running through the lead pipe to remove old debris and various collected items in the lead pipe to keep your instrument clean and functioning properly. Another item that is very handy for using in small areas for cleaning is pipe brushes, pipe cleaners. These work very well. We will of course want some paper towels and a lint-free rag that can be used then with valve cleanings and wiping down the instrument. It needs to be lint-free because we don't want lint to collect within the instrument and cause valve troubles later on. Now a few items that we will want to use in cleaning finishes and various items on the instrument will be, first of all, Brasso. Now a note on Brasso, this is not to be used in cleaning the finish of the instrument unless it is an unlacquered instrument, because it will remove lacquer. However, for cleaning inside of valves and some of the raw brass parts, Brasso works very well as a cleaner. The best overall cleaner is an ammonia-free glass cleaner. That can be used daily to wipe fingerprints off the instrument and various grease spots. A good silver polish is handy sometimes in slide cleaning and of course if your instrument is silver. A few other items: vinegar for cleaning the valves. Lighter fluid works very well for cleaning old grease off of slides. It dissolves the grease quickly and you're able to wipe it away very cleanly that way. And last, we have a product here which is a clear liquid silver cleaner that can be used by simply spraying it on the instrument and then rinsing it off. It will clean the silver up to 90% of its possible finish that way. And so here you see a basic collection of tools. As I say, you will want to begin with a smaller set, perhaps only the mallets and screwdrivers early on, but as you stay with this, you will want to add to your collection of items. So a set like this is what you would need to maintain your horn to optimal playing conditions.